Hi Math 8 students, I hope you had a good weekend. It's Monday morning and I have your video here for you today. Now we are at the end of chapter 13, so we're going to have a test on chapter 12, lessons 1, 2, and 3, and then the 5 lessons that we've done in chapter 13. So we're going to combine those two. So today we're going to do some review problems and they will mainly be for chapter 13. Okay, although I will give you some homework about some of the things that we did in chapter 12. Boy, that seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? And next week we can have, or this week, we can have a Zoom meeting to go over any questions that you might have. So let's get started. Father in heaven, I just pray so much that all of my students would learn this material well, master it by doing the chapter review, and you strengthen me and help me to be the very best teacher I can right now. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so I'm going to sit down and let's get started. Okay, so I hand-picked some problems for us. Here's our chapter 13 review. Okay. Number 1, simplify and write in standard form. Okay, and here we go. 4x squared minus 5 times this whole thing. X squared minus x plus 3 minus 2x. Okay, so first I'm going to simplify and then I'm going to put it in standard form. So I look in the parentheses first. So I'm going to leave everything else and see if there's anything I can combine here. Well, I only have one x squared term, so I'm going to leave that there. And then negative x and negative 2x, I add those two together because they both have the same sign. So that's minus 3x and then plus 3. Okay, so that's that. Now I move outside the parentheses and I've got two operations here. I can subtract or I can multiply. So obviously I am going to multiply. So I've got 5x squared and then negative 5. Now be careful, I did this one on purpose because there's a minus here. So that means that I have to carry that with it. Everything, it's negative 5 times all the things inside. Actually, I'm going to change this to a plus negative, which I can do, just because it makes it more clear that I have a, that the sign of the 5 is negative. So I'm going to have negative 5 times negative 3x is positive 15x, and negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Okay, so I don't have my parentheses anymore. Now I'm looking for any like terms that I can combine, and these two I can combine here. So 4x squared and negative 5x squared is negative x squared plus 15x minus 15. Okay, now the second part of the question was put it in standard form. What does that mean? Standard form means I have all of the terms in order from the highest exponent down to the lowest. Well, I have a 2 here, I have just one x, and then I have no variable. This is already now in standard form, but you are going to have to do that. So make sure you know how to do that. Okay, so here's number 2. We are going to simplify. And what have we got? We've got 4 times m squared minus 3m plus 5 times 2m squared minus m. So we're going to use the distributive property and then combine like terms, right? Don't forget your cake. Remember the cake? So I'm going to multiply 4 times both of these. So I get 4xm squared, and 4 times negative 3 is negative 12m. Now I'm going to do this here. So I've got 10m squared minus 5m. Okay, Now I'm going to write this so that I have all of my like terms next to each other. So I'm going to move this 10 over here, and I'm going to move the 12 that way. Be careful though. When you move something, you have to move the sign as well. So I have a negative 12m here. Okay, so 4 and 10 is 14. And negative 12 and negative 5 is negative 17m. And there we go. That is our answer. Okay, let's do number 3, which has a picture, and I'm going to find the perimeter. And my shape looks like this. And this is x squared. This is x plus 4. Here's x, and x squared plus 2. So to find the perimeter means I add up all the signs, right? So I'm going to write that as a polynomial. So I'm just going to add x squared, x plus 4, x, and x squared plus 2. So I'm taking all my terms and I'm just going to add them together. So I have to look at what I can add together. So let's see, I've got 2x squared terms, so 1 and 1 is 2. I get 2x squared. How many x's do I have? I have x plus x. And then I have 4 plus 2 is 6. So that's it. That is an expression that represents the perimeter of the figure that I have. Okay, let's go on to number 4. Simplify. And now we're going to talk about powers. We did this some in chapter 4, I would believe, but we're taking it to the next level. So, when I multiply, what do I do with my powers? When I'm multiplying terms, I add powers. When I am raising to the power, I multiply powers. Okay, I'm just putting that there. We'll get more into that in a few minutes. So I've got two things I need to do here. I have multiplication, and then I also have this power here I have to work with. So that means x cubed, and then whatever's in the parentheses here, multiplied by itself twice. So I really have 3x times 3x, okay? So then I have x cubed times, what's 3x times 3x? Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and x times x is x squared. Now, when I'm multiplying terms, what do? I add the powers. So I only have one coefficient, so that just stays the same, 9, and then 3 plus 2 is 5. So 9x to the 5th is my final answer. Okay? All right, let's do another one like that. Number 5, simplify. Okay, so I have this time negative 5 a to the 4th b to the 3rd cubed times 2a to the 4th. Okay, so I have to deal with what's in the parentheses and the power here, and I also have to multiply. So first I'm going to deal with the power. So this means that I have to have negative 5 cubed. I have to have a to the 4th times to the 3rd power, and b to the 3rd cubed. So I'm multiplying. This is raising to the power right here. So I'm multiplying by 3 each power, okay? Actually, the power that's here that we don't see is a 1. So what's 1 times 3? It's 3. So what does negative 5 cubed
Okay,
mean?
very good.
That means negative 5 times itself 3 times. Not 5 times 3. Be careful. Not 5 times 3. Negative 5 multiplied by itself 3 times. So I get here 25, 5 times 5 is 25, and then times negative 5 again is negative 125. So I have negative 125 here, and then 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 3 is 9. I multiply those powers, okay? Now at this stage, I'm multiplying this term by this term. So I'm not raising to the power anymore, I'm multiplying terms. So I add exponents. What can I do? Well, I can add 12 plus 4, so that's a to the 16th, right? I'm just calling that out because I was talking about it right now. Now I've got negative 125 and I've got a 2, so I'm going to multiply those. And then b to the 9th. So that is my final answer for that. Okay? All right, number 6, how about this? What if I want to find the area of the triangle? And here is my triangle. Its sides are represented by these phrases. Okay, y minus 3 and 7 times y. So what's my formula for the area of a triangle? Well, it is 1/2 base times height. So then I have 1/2, what's the base? It's the whole thing, y minus 3. And what's the height? 7y. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do what, I'm going to save the 1/2 till later, okay? And I'm going to multiply 7y times each of these terms. It's kind of a from the back distributive property. So I have to multiply 7y times y, and then I have to multiply 7y times negative 3. Okay? So let's see what we get here. Right now, I'm just going to put the 1/2 there. So I'm going to have 7y times y is 7y squared. And then 7y times negative 3 is negative 21y. Okay? Now I'm going to multiply by 1/2. So I'm just going to put it over 2. So I got 7/2 y squared minus 21/2 y. And that is a messy answer, but it just is the way it is. So that is your expression that represents the area. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. We're going to practice multiplying binomials using FOIL. And we're going to factor. Okay, the last 2 things. So we've got t plus 3 and t minus 4. All right, so FOIL is first, outside, inside, last, remember? So if I'm looking at first and last, those are order, right? And inside, outside is position. Okay, so when I'm looking like first, second, third, fourth, or last, first and last, I'm going to multiply the first times the first, my 2 firsts. So I get t times t is t squared. Now I'm going to do O, which is for outside. So I have the 2 terms that are on the outside, which is t and negative 4. Don't forget to take that negative with it. So I have negative 4t. And then inside here, that's position. I've got 2 on the outside and 2 on the inside. So I'm going to have 3 times t is 3t. And then 3 times 4, negative 4, is negative 12. So what do? I add like terms here, so I get t squared minus t minus 12. And that's my answer. Okay, last one, number 9. We're going to factor x squared plus 9x minus 36. Okay? And when we're factoring, we're doing the opposite of what we did in number 8, and we're going to use magic x. So I put this number here, c, don't forget the negative, and I put b, my second term, right here. So I have to list my factors of 36. So I've got 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, what else? How about 4 and 9 and 6, okay? But I have, one of them is negative. So if I had all negatives here, and then I have the opposite of that, and which two add up to positive 9? Well, right here, negative 3 and 12, okay? It's nothing like listing them that makes it really obvious. So then we have x minus 3 times x plus 12. And there we go. That's our answer. Okay, I hope that helps you review everything from chapter 13 and that the homework will help you with all of that what we've learned for this chapter, part of chapter 12 and part of chapter 13. Have a great Monday. Bye now.